Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to take a look at Unit 4, Lesson 4, relating the standard form and vertex form, completing the square, day 2. So we looked at day 1 when we were in class last. If you were away that day, make sure you complete that lesson first. Some of the technology I use in class for writing our notes is not currently working, so I'm working on getting it fixed. So for now, we're going to go through the filled in note and just talk about completing the square. Okay, so what is completing the square? We looked at this last week. Completing the square is the process of converting a quadratic function from standard to vertex form. So we talked about the steps for that, and we're going to go through kind of the general steps for it, which you can also see in your textbook. It looks a little bit confusing with all these variables. So following those steps by steps that we looked at in day 1 can help you kind of go through the process. So in general, here are the steps. When you have an a value, you need to factor out that coefficient. So factor the coefficient of x squared from the first two terms. So we talked about we always need to factor out a, whatever a is. Even if a is not the common factor, that's what we pull out. And we pull it out of only the first two terms. Okay, we don't pull it out of c. After we common factor out that a value, whatever's left for our b divided by a, so our second term, we're going to half it and we're going to square it. So we're going to add and subtract the square of half of the coefficient of x. So for example, let's say that b was equal to 4. Right? We take 4, we cut it in half, and we square it. Okay? So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4. So we would take that 4, we would add it inside of our brackets, and then we would subtract it inside of our brackets. We're going to go through an example with some numbers here, but like I said, we did this on day 1. Then we would group the 3 terms that form the perfect square together, and that minus piece we take outside of the brackets by multiplying it by the a term. So remember, it's attached to the inside of that bracket by the a. So when we pull it out, we have to multiply it by a. Okay, finally we factor using perfect square trinomial, and we combine any of our like terms on the outside. So these variables might be kind of hard to see the process, and we're going to go through the actual steps of completing the square. So let's look at the first one here. Okay, so for a, we have f of x equals negative 3x squared plus 7x minus 4. We can see that a is negative, it's a negative 3, so it opens down. The first step to completing the square is we need to pull out that negative 3. Now again, negative 3 might not be the common factor for those first two terms, but that's what we're going to get pulled out. Okay, so I just want to, last time we put a bracket around, right, those first two terms. So from those first two terms we're looking at, we're going to pull out the a value. So we common factor out an a. When you common factor out an a, you have to make sure you divide both of your terms by that common factor. Okay, so I would divide x squared, and I would divide 7x by 3, or negative 3. So when I divide the first term by negative 3, I'll be left with x squared. When I divide the second term by negative 3, I'm going to be left with a negative 7/3 x. So now that's negative 7/3 is what we need to half and square. Okay, so you have to be really comfortable working with your fractions. So if we look over here in the left side, and we look here, we're now going to take our 7/3, we're going to divide it by 2, and then we're going to square it. So 7/3 divided by 2, if we were to do that, it's like multiplying by 1/2, so that's what you see here. Okay, and then squaring it, we need to apply our power of 2 to the 7 and to that's 6. So 7 6 squared is going to be 49 over 36. Okay, from there we take the 49 sixths and we have to add it and subtract it inside of our brackets, which we can see here. Okay, and then we need to pull out, in step 4 you're going to see we pull out that 49 over 36, and we have to multiply it by the -3 that's outside our bracket when we do. So when we multiply it by that -3, we end up getting 49 over 12. And you have to be comfortable working with multiplication of fractions. You can see that when I multiplied by a -3, I can reduce the -3 and the 36, right? Because they have a common factor there. So I can reduce the -3 to 1 and the 36 to 12 if I'm dividing both of them by 3 to simplify that fraction. Okay, so you're left with 49 over 12. I need to then write this 4 with a common denominator as to what I'm going to combine it with. So it gets written as 48 over 12, right? Common denominator is 12. So I'll write it as 4 times 12 is 48. And then I need that 12 in the denominator because it used to be a 1, right? 4 was 4 over 1. So you got to write that with a common denominator. Okay, to factor what's in of our brackets, if we're doing a perfect square trinomial, we should be able to just take the square root . Okay, we should be able to take the square root of this number, and that will get us what goes in our perfect square trinomial. So the square root of 49 is 7, the square root of 36 is 6. That goes inside of our trinomial. So once we factor that perfect square trinomial, we're left with x minus 7 6 squared. We still have that -3 out front that we common factored out. And when we combine the stuff on the outside, so the 49 over 12 minus 48 over 12, we should get 1/12. So if we're going to identify our vertex, we pull that right out of our vertex form. It would be 7 6, because we switch the sign, we pull it out the brackets there, and 1/12. Okay, and then our maximum is at the y value of our vertex, so our maximum is at y equals 1/12. Okay, if we take a look at B, okay, the process is the same. So have a read through what's going on in this example. Try to follow the steps as you go. If it helps, look back at your notes from day 1. What's most important here is that you have to be comfortable with working with a fraction. And how do we half a fraction and square a fraction? The process is the same from the previous day's note, but you have to be able to divide a fraction in half and then square it. So really pay attention to how that is done here when we half and square that B term. Okay, so pause the video if you need to, or read through this example and make sure you can follow it step by step. Okay, we're going to look at a couple word problems. Same idea with completing the square here. So a punted football has a vertical height that's given by that function, where h of t is in meters and t is in seconds. Determine the maximum height. So if we're determining the maximum height, we should be thinking that we need to find our vertex. So our vertex, and it's going to be the y value of our vertex. So our maximum height is going to be the y value of our vertex. Okay? So if we're in standard form, when we need to find the y value of our vertex, we need to get it into vertex form. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do here. So again, if we have h of t equals negative 4/5, t squared plus 24.3 t plus 1, we're going to go ahead and complete that square. So we have to pull out the negative 4.5 from our first two terms. So when we pull out 4.5 from our first two terms, we're going to be left with t squared minus 5.4t. So remember, we're dividing both those terms by negative 4.5 in our original function. So when t squared term gets divided by negative 4.5, we're left with just t squared. When 24.3t gets divided by negative 4.5, we're left with a negative 5.4. All right, so from there, we half that b term, so 5.4, divide it in half and square it, and we should get 7.29. We then add the 7.29 and subtract the 7.29 inside of our brackets. We're trying to create that perfect square trinomial. We need to pull out the minus of the 7.29, so we're going to pull it out by multiplying it by our a value, and our a value is a negative 4.5. Okay, so this next step is just showing the simplification, or the simplifying of that multiplication here. All right, and then we know that we have a perfect square trinomial we've created, so we're going to take the square root of this term in order to get 2.7 in our perfect square trinomial. So we'll have t minus 2.7 squared, and then we just combine these two things to go at the end of our vertex form. So our maximum height is going to be the y of our vertex, so the maximum height is 33.805. Okay, last one for today. So you have the cost is in dollars to produce X item is given by that relation. We can see that it opens up because our A value is positive. So we're going to use completing the square to determine how many items should be produced to minimize the production cost and what is that cost. Okay, so recognizing here that our from our vertex, X will represent the minimum items and Y represents the minimum cost. Okay, so we need to find our vertex. So again, read through this example, make sure you can follow the steps for completing the square. Then once you get to the bottom, you can pull out your vertex, remembering that that negative 25 becomes a positive, and the 525 keeps its sign. So it would be 25 items should be produced to have a minimum cost of $525. Make sure you read through those steps for completing the square. You can do them with a word problem. Go back and have a look at day 1 if you haven't already done so, and then check your unit outline for the homework that's related to this note. It will also be posted on Brightspace. That's all for your note for today.